Stay tuned now for Successful Balanced Living with your host, Lynda Adams. Hello and welcome to the Successful Balanced Living Show. I am your host, Lynda Adams, and the goal of this show is to help educate you on how to achieve success and balance in your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And we do that by inviting guests each week to share their knowledge with you on their areas of expertise. And we do encourage you, our listeners, to call in and ask questions. And the number to do that, as always, is 207-780-4909. My guest today is Ashok Nalamalapu. Ashok's personal mission is to serve and inspire others, which he does as a speaker, writer, kirtan leader, entrepreneur, community leader, and host and facilitator of spiritual events. Yoga, meditation, and devotional chanting, which is kirtan, are Ashok's main passions, and he is dedicated to sharing these transformational practices with others. So welcome, Ashok, to Successful Balanced Living.
Thank you, Lynda. Hi, everybody.
I'm excited to have you here, and I'm very excited that I pronounced your name correctly.
That's great. Good job.
Thank you. I've had people on the show with very easy names, and I've screwed theirs up. So I'm glad that things are going well so far.
You're a singer, so you sang it well.
Thank you. Yes. So I know something about you, obviously, because we've talked before, but my listeners might not know who you are. So I'm just wondering if you could just take a few moments to talk about your journey. I know that you've had a lot of different things that have happened in your life that have led you to where you are today and what we're going to talk about. So could you just kind of touch upon some of those to give people a sense of who you are?
Thank you, Lynda. My name is Ashok Nalamalapu. I came to the U.S. In 1987. When I came with $100. And in 1996, I moved to Maine. I founded a company called ICST. We do IT staff augmentation and software testing. In 2010, I founded a meditation center called Sadhana. Sadhana means spiritual practices. And I spent about $120,000 for public service. During that time, I was inviting kirtan leaders who are called kirtanwalas from around the country, and they have their expenses, so they were asking like $1,000 for each event, and there were not many people to collect that kind of money and pay them. So I decided to learn singing and chanting, and I started singing in a jail next to where my office is, and those young the girls were very happy to chant along. When they saw me, they were jumping and say, I want to chant. So I never thought that I would be a singer. My folks do not believe, and my friends do not believe that I actually sing.
And you didn't believe it for a while either.
I never believed that I would be a singer either. So I just experimented. And with the practice, anything can be done. So I am slowly learning this singing.
And while you're learning, you're sharing your gift with others and helping them join in as well.
Yes, that's right.
And which is actually a miracle, because you had mentioned to me that at one point you actually lost your voice and they told you would never speak again. Is that correct?
Yeah, in 2000, I lost my voice for 1 year. I went to Maine Mass General, and there the person who actually did surgery on Julia Roberts, Julia Andrews, said that I will never be speak again. But I had 3 vocal surgeries, and with yoga, I was able to recover my voice.
With yoga, you were able to recover your voice.
Yeah, with asanas, it relaxes your muscles around your neck, and that helped me to get better. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so I'm glad because now you're able to share, like I said, your gift with others. And so let's talk about what that is, because lately, one thing I had mentioned to you is I recently got introduced to kirtan. A friend of mine invited me to watch a documentary movie at the Nickelodeon Cinema called The Mantra Movie, and it's about mantras and chanting. And I realized as I was sitting there that I actually had already been exposed to that through Ted Kinsman, who did an event at the Center for Balanced Living in Falmouth, and he was playing his music there, and I got his CD, and I actually listened to that in my car, and I really didn't realize that I've been chanting right along by singing his music, singing Sanskrit.
Yeah.
And so it was an epiphany I had when I saw the Mantra Movie, and I know there's a few different places around here that are doing that. So can you just explain to us what is kirtan?
Kirtan is, in India, it is called bhajan. It is praising Lord's names, praising God's names, and chant repetition of a word or a phrase multiple times. A kirtan facilitator says a word or a phrase, and the audience repeat it.
Okay. And you said that it's God's names, so it's Indian God's names?
Kirtan is originated in India. In Sanskrit was the language.
Okay.
But in Judaism, they do cantor. In Christianity, you do church choir. In Sufi, you have Qawwali. So it's not specific to Hinduism. Chanting is there in all different faiths.
Okay, I didn't realize that. And some of those words are not easy to pronounce. So if someone was going to go to an event, how easy is it to follow along with the words and the chanting?
I keep it very simple so that the Western audience can repeat the words. But those people who cannot pronounce, it's okay to say the way that they can pronounce. It's not only just pronunciation, it's receiving the waves of the sound that impacts our body and our mind.
And having everyone singing together, I would imagine it creates a synergy of that vibration. And is that part of the meditation?
That's very true. The most important thing is community gathering together and singing and saying the same words so that we calm down chattering our mind, and we go into that fourth state called Turiya state. So normally we are in sleeping and dreaming or waking state. But when we chant this word or phrase multiple times, we go into a state where our mind, we don't focus on our mind, we just be with the words, and together when we chant, we with the loving people around, we find that joy and bliss.
And you say this is a form of meditation.
Yes, sound is a form of meditation, chanting is a form of meditation. Meditation, as you know, has different forms, whether it is keeping our mind quiet and focusing on our breath, or observing sensations in our body, or gardening, or singing, or running. This is a different kind of meditation.
And so I've had some people on the show that have talked about meditation, and most of the people that I meet when they talk about meditation and mindfulness, it's the quieting of the mind, and they talk about focusing on your breath. Or if you're preparing food, it's really focusing on what you're preparing and what you're touching and smelling and sensing, which is what you're talking about. So for me, I struggle a little bit with considering music as a form of meditation, because I always thought that meditation was being quiet and still and focusing on your breath and not having any sound. So how do you define meditation, and how does this fit into it with the chanting, the music?
There are many definitions for meditation. Mm-hmm. One of them is changing our relationship with our thoughts. How we respond to our thoughts is a kind of meditation. So when we focus on our breath, that is great, that's a form of meditation. But what's more important is in spiritual bypass, you might have heard. So we say that we're doing yoga, so we should not have these feelings, or when we meditate, we should not be angry, or we should not be this or that. But our body gives the sensations. The body tells the truth. So if we can observe sensations in our body and how we are responding, how we are reacting, that's even more important than just focusing on our breath.
Okay. And it's the more important thing, I think, is calming the chatter in our minds.
Yes.
Because we all are so busy and move from thing to thing to thing. And I think we all have thoughts that keep racing through our mind.
Yeah, thoughts keep coming. We do not want to be upset with ourselves for getting those thoughts. It's normal being a human. So we just observe thoughts and let it pass. That's the ideal thing to do.
Okay. And you used an analogy before the show when we were talking about meditation. Can you use the analogy about the lake?
In Bhagavad Gita, one of the scriptures in Hinduism, they talk about lake. When a lake is disturbed, then we cannot see the bottom of the lake. When the lake is settled, then you could see the bottom of the lake. Similarly, when we have a lot of thoughts, we cannot really realize or see our true nature. When we can calm our mind and just observe ourselves, then we can see our true nature.
Love it. Because I told you I love the water, so I completely relate with that analogy. So I'm thinking we're going to actually play. So you're part of a band. What is the band name?
Our band's name is Swan Kirtan.
Okay. And you perform in this area?
Yes, we do. I've been doing it in Falmouth twice a month. So we have events coming up. The next event is on July 28th, Festival of Nations in Deering Oaks. They're expecting about 3,000 people there. And then we'll do on August 26th at the Portland Community Kirtan. So a group of women got together and they are hosting these Kirtan events. And on 28th of August at Kripalu in Massachusetts, on September 14th at Bhakti Fest in Joshua Tree, California, and on September 22nd at Love Light in Baltimore, on November 17th at Portland Recovery Center next door, and November 30th Ananda Ashram in New York, and on December 1st at Integral Yoga Institute, New York City. I'm also invited by Esalen in California, which my dream come true opportunity. So
that's amazing. And from someone who never thought that you could sing, and now you're traveling around the world singing.
Yeah, I'm surrendering to God.
That's beautiful. I love that. So we actually are going to play a song off from your latest CD. What is the CD called?
We Are All One.
We Are All One. And the song we're going to play is called All One.
All One.
It's a longer song, but we're going to play a shorter clip of that, a couple of minutes. So we're ready to do that. Lincoln, our good old sound engineer in the booth, is going to do that for us. So we're going to take a short little break and listen to some music, and then we'll be right back. And so we were talking a little bit while the music was going on. And so can you explain to us, I mean, so you had said some of this is original music on your CD, some of that you've written?
This particular chant I wrote by myself.
Okay.
Yes.
But you said some of the ones on your CD have been around for thousands of years, the chanting, the phrases.
Yes, Gayatri Mantra, which is called the mother of all mantras, has been there for thousands of years.
Okay. And then you're just doing the music that goes along with that. Are you coming up with the music yourself?
I work with my teacher, who is a blind man in India.
Oh.
So I get classes from him, and together we create.
Beautiful.
And other teachers too, yeah.
And you just were in India?
Yes.
And you visited some temples there? I mean, did you perform in India?
Yes, I did perform in 3 different temples, and one of the temples is Sri Ramakrishna. I'm his disciple, and that was the best feeling that I ever had in chanting. Beautiful devotees and good band, and I loved it. It's in a place where I went to school, and then in a Birla temple that's made 100% out of marble on top of a mountain. Beautiful temple.
Mm.
And in my native village where my father grew up, I sang there. So it was a good feeling to sing in my native country.
I bet. And you plan on, I mean, you say you go to India at least once a year.
That's true.
Yes.
Mm.
And you were in Thailand visiting your daughter, and it sounds like you travel all around.
That's my hobby, Linda.
It's my hobby. I want that hobby.
I go to one new country every year.
One new country every year?
Yeah.
How many countries have you been to?
Just 27.
Just 27?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my goals. I actually, one of my goals, I'd like to visit every state in the United States. That's my first goal. But yes, I want to travel to different countries as well. I haven't been to very many, but there's so many things to experience in the world.
Yes.
And so your music is actually helping you to do that.
That will help me. I think my intention is to go to different countries and sing.
Yeah. Have you found that because you are traveling so much, the kirtan, is it more known? Obviously, it's more known in India, but like across the country here, because I thought it was very new to me. Maybe not. But have you found, like in different states, what is the response? Is it followed more than here?
In the U.S.?
Yes.
Definitely. My teacher is Jai Uttal, who is a Grammy nominee. He is from Bay Areas in California.
Okay.
So there, even Grammy, Krishna Das was a Grammy nominee too. The chanting is growing rapidly in this country.
And why do you think that is?
That's because we are busy and our minds are like monkeys going from one place to other, and we want to quiet mind. We want to be peaceful. This is a way that we can calm our mind and be joyful.
And obviously, I mean, everybody loves music, right? And I think that is definitely something that pulls people together.
Yes.
I mean, think of how many music festivals we have in Maine alone.
Mm.
And having that as a part of meditation, I'm sure that's a big draw of people wanting to be part of that.
Right.
And I know so many people who consider themselves not singers, and they chant, you know.
True. I'm an example of that.
Because it's easy words, you can follow along, it's fun.
Yeah.
So if somebody was to go to a community kirtan, like you had mentioned, is it people are just sitting around on mats with their legs crossed, or are people dancing, or what is the experience that people would have there?
I provide people cushions so that they can sit comfortably. Okay. I would recommend to sit on a cushion so that your knees are below your hips, and you can sit for longer. But you can lie down, or when I sing at Kripalu, there are like 100 and plus people. They just danced, so that was beautiful to see them dancing. So people can do anything that they want to.
Okay. So it's not like you have to be conform to sitting on a mat. If you want to get up and dance, you can get up and dance. It's the expression of self.
That's the beauty of kirtan, Linda. There is no age limit. There is no male, female. Anybody can sing, and any faith you can belong, or you don't believe in any faith, you can still sing and receive the benefits.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Kripalu, and it's interesting because Kripalu, I believe I'm destined to go there in my near future, because I can't tell you how many times that has come up to me over the past month of the people I'm meeting, that they are teachers there, or they're performing there, or they're holding workshops. And so I'm anxious to go. How many times have you been there to perform?
To perform at Kripalu twice.
Twice.
Okay.
And you've gone there for other things as well?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay. So you've gone, and when you have these community events here in Maine, are there a lot of people that attend to those, or how do they find out about them?
They can go to Facebook. Maine Kirtan is the Facebook page.
Okay.
Or our website called swankirtan.com.
Okay.
And there's also Portland Community Kirtan. They have their Facebook page too.
All right. And the kirtan is Kirtan.
That's
just
right.
for people to understand where to find that. And they can find your CD where, if they're interested in that?
Those CDs are sold on CD Baby and iTunes.
Okay.
And they can come to Free Festival of Nations on July 28th in Deering Oaks, and I will have some of my CDs there.
Perfect. And Festival of Nations, that's been around for quite a few years, hasn't it?
It's been there for 16 years. She's an amazing lady. Her son Michael O is from Maine, but he's in Los Angeles, and he's a big star there. He's talking with Sony for a big contract, and he's going to be a headliner singing.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of music does he do? Do you know?
He does soft rock. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. And the Festival of Nations is just to bring everyone together in the community, with all the nations celebrating.
This year's theme is the best of Maine. A lot of children. They have a lot of children programs, competitions, music from various countries, Ireland and Somalia and different countries, and food, and
I was just going to say, there must be a lot of food.
Yeah, and cake and.
Nice. Yeah. That's one thing. I live in Westbrook, and I'm on the city council in Westbrook, and we have a lot of try to have gatherings, and we had a couple of gatherings where a lot of the people from the various countries came together and shared the food from their native countries, and a lot of it I didn't know what it was, but I'm very open-minded, and it was fantastic.
Yes.
And they were wonderful. You just asked them, what is in this dish, and they explained it, and so I encourage everyone. My husband, not so much. He doesn't have that open mind when it comes to different food. But I think, why not? Why not try it at least once, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And good job on Westbrook. You're transforming the town.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to be on the city council, because I know there's a lot of changes coming up, and I wanted to be part of that. So thank you for that. And you're going to be moving soon, so
yes.
you have a busy schedule coming up. So between performing and your business and moving, I'm glad you took time out to be with us today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Anything else you feel like we didn't share? I guess one of the final questions I have for you is with chanting is that you said that you mentioned all these different gods' names. Do you have to chant a specific thing for what do you want to focus on? Like if you want to focus on love, do you have to focus on one certain god's name to do that?
Well, in India, for some people say that if you want wealth, you chant this and or that, or if you want to remove the obstacles, you sing for Ganesh. I am not big on that. I just chant and I just be in the moment, and whatever I receive, I receive.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show. But thank you again for being a guest today. And again, if you want to hear more about Ashok Nalamalapu, then go to swankirtan.com and look that up. And definitely go see him at the Portland Festival of Nations on July 28th. So,
thank you, Linda. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And so obviously brings us to the end of the show. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. As always, if you want to listen to this show again, go to successfulbalanceliving.com. And next week, my guest is actually going to be